What a load of old codswallop.
Well, so if you were watching last week, we had a little bit of a bottle dig and we came across this cod bottle. Dalton, very, very common, very, very plain, boring bottle, which we discussed at the time. But this is the one with the marble, it's still got water in it as well. So I said we're going to discuss what the marble was there for, because it's quite an interesting thing. I mean, they're not just a novelty thing, they are actually there for a reason, the marbles. So it all dates back to late 1780s, I think, when a guy called Joseph Swepp came up with carbonated fizzy fizzy drinks. Now the problem was with fizzy drinks, obviously there's a lot of pressure in the bottle. So all bottles back then, most of them were cork tops, so the cork in the top. You put a fizzy drink in that, and the pressure's just going to blow it out. So there was a problem. We needed to find a way of storing fizzy drinks. So one of the very first inventions was, believe it or not, this bottle here, which is a Hamilton bottle. This was invented in the early 19th century by a guy called William Hamilton. And, you know, a bit of a weird shaped thing, obviously. They can't stand up. They're designed to lie flat. And the reason for that is, there's still a cork top bottle, but when you lay the bottle on its side, the bottle keeps the liquid inside keeps the cork moist, and if it's moist, it expands and it forms a leak-proof seal. Now that did work for quite a number of years, and they were common up until 1890s, something like that. But the shopkeepers hated them. They were difficult to store. Obviously, you couldn't stand them upright, so they all had to be lie down. And they took up a lot of space, difficult to handle. Weren't very popular with the storekeepers. So people started making other ways of keeping this fizzy popping. So I've lined up here like a bit of a brief history of fizzy pop bottles. So that we had the Hamilton for quite a number of years, and then around the 1850s, 1860s, people started playing around with different ideas, different types of internal stoppers. So, for example, we've got one here. This is a Valet patent. Very early bottle, probably 1860s, 70s, and inside you've got like a little wooden plug. So this bottle would have been filled upside down. And the wooden plug has got a rubber seal on it, so the pressure, when you return the bottle to its correct way up, the pressure held that rubber plug in the top. And when you needed to drink it, all you did was press it in, plug would fall inside, and you could get your drink. So there was lots of different versions of bottles like that. This is another one. That one's a Lamont's patent. So the Lamont's patent had a very similar type of plug to that inside. The one in this has disappeared, but very similar. Again, this is probably one of my favourite bottles. This one is a Chapman's rubber ball patent. So this, in the bottom, has a little rubber ball. So that's filled the same way. You fill it upside down, the rubber ball seals inside the neck of the bottle. When you come to drink it, you press it in, and when you tip it like that, the ball gets trapped in the little indentations in the side of the bottle. Lovely little bottle, I really like it. 1870s, maybe 1880 at latest. But then the breakthrough came in 1872 when a guy called Hiram Codd came up with his invention, which is a cod bottle. And this bottle was used right up to the 1930s in different various guises. This is one of the original cod patent 4s from Windermere. I actually found this scuba diving in Windermere last year. Lovely little bottle, narrow neck, that tells you how it's an early one. The later ones had a wider neck and lots of different variations till they come up with a standard version. So that was 1872. Also, another marble stoppered bottle was this one. Same sort of fitting in the top. You had a rubber ring in the top to seal it, and a glass ball in the bottom. But this was a Sykes McVey, and this had the indentations around the bottom. So Sykes McVey invented this one, I think in 1877. But not a very common thing then. The cod bottle was the main one. But let's say there was various guises of the cod bottle. You can see this one, the cod bottle, it actually says on it, makers Sykes McVey, Castleford. So Sykes McVey, who invented that one, actually got involved in making these as well. So that's got the glass marble in the top. This is called a bulb neck. There's no pinches like there is in these ones. Same thing, there would have been a little Indian rubber ring inside there. Held the marble in until you got it, pushed it back in. So, various different inventions of it came throughout the years. This one's a particularly interesting one. This is a Beavis patent. So it's got like a J-shaped archway channel in the neck there. The ball still gets trapped in the bottom there. But when you fill it, let's say you should have a rubber ring there. But most of them, the different variations based on the different sorts of pinches. So that's a Beavis patent. This one here has 4 indentations in the top. So you can trap it both ways. Now that one is a Dobson's patent, or sometimes it's called a Niagara patent. What's this one say? Just to kill the brothers maker. It's not actually got the patent on it. But the one that was the most popular in the end was the standard cod bottle, which is that one. Nice wide neck, 1 indentation either side, little rubber ring in the top. You can see that when a marble actually locates, and that marble actually pushes up against that rubber ring and seals. I've seen these sealed to this day, 150 years later, I've seen these still sealed. So the pressure holds that marble up. To get it down, I believe there's a lot of pressure in them, so what you needed was a codswallop. This is where you get the term, a load of old codswallop from. Now that is a codswallop. And that, these can be made of lots of different things. Wood, vulcanite, lignum vitae, I think this one is. All types of plastic. So it's got a little plunger in the middle there. So what you did, you put it on the top of the cod bottle, and you went like that and give it a good wallop. So that's where you get your term cod's wallop from. It's actually cod bottle, and that's a cod's wallop. So cod's bottles, they're generally finished around 1930s, that was the end of them in the UK. The biggest problem with them, and that shows you what the biggest problem is with them. Now the top's missing off that. A lot of the ones we do find, the tops are missing, and I think you can guess why. The kids of the time saw the little marble in the top, and they wanted that marble. So they break the top off, get the marble out, and the bottle was gone. These were quite expensive to make, and the breweries and the pot makers wanted them back. So to get the tops broken off all the time wasn't very good for business. So eventually they were superseded by, I would say, Crown Cap, if we've got any around. Have we got any Crown Cap bottles around? Did have. But, yeah, so they got superseded because the marbles kept going. 1930s. They still make them though. India and Japan still make them. The ones from India are very, very similar to our original ones. The ones in Japan, a bit clearer. They're a bit more modern looking, but they're still there. They've still got a marble in. These have got a built-in codswallop on them. So apparently you take the paper off, the plastic off, and you've got the little like codswallop there, and you give it a crack on the top. So we'll have a look at one of them in a minute. We'll open one. So what else have we got with regards to old type stoppers? Internal screw. So this one here, very, very coarse thread, very, very coarse into the glass. The reason we didn't have external screw bottles up until reasonably recently is because these were handmade, and it was very, very difficult to get a top that would fit perfectly every time on every bottle. With these having a very coarse thread, you can see how loose they are, but they still work. So they were invented about 1885, I think, and used right up until the 1960s, 1970s. But anyway, I've got off subject. We're back on the cods. So most cod bottles, you can see we've got loads here. Very, very common. The ones that aren't common, and obviously the most collectible, are the coloured ones. So we've got coloured cods up here. Now, these are highly desirable. The standard aqua ones, unless they're a rare local one, £1 a piece. You can't even give them away sometimes. But you put a colour on them, and you could be talking hundreds of pounds. But they're very, very rare to find. So they come in different sizes. Usually that's your standard 6-ounce size, and then you get the 12-ounce size, which is literally double the size of it. So that's the main two sizes you get of them. Alright, we're going to open this cod bottle. It's Japanese, and I bet it's very, very sugary sweet stuff, so I'm not going to be drinking it. I might have a little taste, but how do we open it? Got to get this plastic.
Should be a pull tab.
Should be a pull tab. Mine don't, so there should be a pull tab.
There. Pull that bit.
Alright. Not the easiest to get to. If I was very thirsty, I wouldn't be happy about this. Very. Actually, I can't get into it. I'm getting mad already now. Give me a screw cap any day. No, I can't do it. There you go, we're in. There you go, so we'll peel that off. And I want to see what we've got. Well, there we've got the glass marble there, look. Now I believe that you've got to pop this out. So there is my cod swallow. So, yeah, that's hard. Oh, oh, that's a lot of pressure, that. There's no way you're going to press that down with your finger. We're going to have a taste. No, that's not for me. In fact, that's a load of old cod swallow.